Good morning, Steve Zelenardo here with RE/MAX Experts, Zelenardo Associates and Treviso Realty. Just a real quick update on the market. Current inventory, 9,867 units. So it's just a slight uptick since last week, but sales are up, which is nice. We're up another 100 and let's say 30 since last week. Or let me actually get the exact number. So last week we were at 9,644 units on the market, 692 sold. This week we're at 987 currently listed, and 757 sales. So an additional like 60, 70 sales, which is good. It's a good uptick. We've actually experienced that. We sold a few properties over the weekend in Toronto and also here in Florida, which is nice. So one of our listings we had since August, it seemed like we're always on top of the buyers with price, and finally we got it to a price where we started getting offers. So this is thankfully the market came down and kind of like went sideways now the last couple months, and there's an uptick of buyers currently between Jan and Feb, and we're starting to get offers. So from like 4 months, let's say 2.5 months, 3 months not getting offers, now between Jan and Feb we got 4 offers, and we accepted the one over the weekend, which I think is a really good deal based on everything that's currently happening in the market and also what's selling around. But it was good. It was good optimism going forward with that. So that got done. Another purchase we did last week also going into it. Again, these deals are like 3-5 days of negotiations, and ultimately they get secure. So it's like a constant work at the seller and buyer to kind of get into it. And again, as realtors, our job is to bring the buyer and seller together, mediate it, get to a point where it's like, I always give the analogy, it's like, going to the dance, and then once the music's over, you're gonna have to pick what happens, because every offer has that end of music period where you're going to have to either accept it or move on. And then today's market, be careful with not accepting offers. Just be cautious naturally. If it's a shitty offer, refuse it. But ultimately, if it's good on conditions, close to asking relative to the market price, like just literally sign it and go. We had offers on our bigger listings, again, not very close to, let's say, asking, but not close enough for our sellers. Ultimately, again, in a market like this, I would take it and run. I'll mention it again, sorry, but I just unloaded 2 other of my investment properties back in Toronto. They're supposedly hopefully gonna firm up in the next, let's say, 5 to 8 days. So hopefully that goes through, and that's out of the way. And that money we're going to reinvest in Florida, or we're going to hold it in Toronto, put it in a GIC temporarily until we feel confident to put the money back in the market. We did a deal out in Florida, which was quite nice, unexpected, but ultimately such a good deal. Showing Canadians around, kind of give them a feel for the area. Obviously, I'm very bullish on my coastline rather than the East Coast, and just showing them what's good, and ultimately they fell in love with an area. Price for the properties are second to none. Like we scored a beautiful town unit, 1,400 and change square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath, backed onto the lake, like community lakes, in a good spot for like, I think it was $277,000 with I got a $7,000 incentive. That's why I'm here, folks, to make deals with our sales staff in the builder's sales office. So we got a $7,000 incentive for our clients. Our clients would have gone forward without the $7,000 incentive. They actually agreed to that price, and then I negotiate on their behalf to get back a little bit of an incentive. So now they're paying, let's say, $270 flat. This unit will lease between $2,200 and $2,400 a month safely. Remember, this is all US dollars. And there's literally 11 leases in the last, let's say, 6 months, all indicate between $2,200 and $2,400. And then there's one-off property that was furnished, and it's getting like $3,000 USD per month. So this is a great investment. It's in a gated community. It's got an amenity center. It's actually the area that I'm currently residing in, where my investment property is. So if you ever see me in the morning, my gym shots, like we're taking videos of the pool and stuff like that, that's where this location is, and it's gated. It's a very good community, amazing neighbors, like really enjoying the people around me, especially during Super Bowl time. So pretty cool. That was very, very positive. Talking about the market now, I know everyone's got this huge optimism going forward, and I definitely appreciate that. That's why I'm telling sellers, get their homes on the market now. get them sold. The spring market, this is our spring market. You got a whole influx of buyers willing to buy properties, and they're paying, because what we're seeing now is bidding wars back in Toronto. And don't get confused with bidding wars again. So remember, we've gone down 22 to 26% in value year over year, and now we're having bidding wars. And I'll give you an example. Mike submitted an offer last night, and this home was listed at $1,150,000, and now they just reduced the price to $999,000, holding back offers. $150K spread from where the seller wants and to where they're currently listed. So it's $150K. That's a huge gap, especially on this type of property. Gets 4 offers. It looks like they're all going to be either below the 900 range, like the million range rather, or just slightly above it, but way below what a seller wants to sell the property at. So it's not like it's done. But there's other areas that are basically taking in offers, and they're selling at today's market value, which is not like they're selling a market value plus an increase. So don't get confused with that. Obviously, that's just steam. Also, when people are bullish going forward, I hear a lot of comments and calls and clients, friends, family members saying that, okay, well, the market's now gone sideways. There's optimism. There's sales. Things are going to start climbing. I get it, and they're starting to go in that direction for 1,000%. But just be careful. You got to always rewind why there was a pullback in the market. So if you remember, the pullback was inflation, number one, which caused interest rate hikes, and that's what flattened the market. So if you look at what flattened the market was debt load, basically. So debt load is what caused the pullback. When the inflation was high, they raised the rates. The rates caused unaffordability to people, people residing in houses that have large mortgages. There was a huge pullback. People were forced to sell, bringing prices down. So this has not been corrected. The debt load has not been corrected. So even if it just stays at that currently at 4.5% policy rate, there's pressure right now. So what's holding on from listing and selling is the optimism or hoping that the Feds start lowering interest rates to bring it back to, let's say, a yesterday type environment where it was high debt, low rates, cheap payment. But ultimately, even if they hold it at 4.5%, literally for the next 6 months to 12 months, let's say they hold it there for a year, 2 years. The people that have $1 million mortgage, $1.2 million, $1.5 million, whatever it is, $2 million, even $800,000, $600,000. If your payments are, skyrocket, almost double because you're in a variable, and you're forced to stay in that variable because now if you go into a fix, you're at 5.6%, so it's irrelevant. You're stuck there. So that's what I'm looking at. So the problem has not been corrected, and the problem is the debt. If the debt has not been corrected, you're still going to have another shot of a regression in value. So just be careful with that, even while you're buying. Obviously, if you're selling, unload. And this is, again, the first time I would say if you're selling, try to get into a rental temporarily. Just kind of wait it out. The market's not going anywhere. You're not going to be forced to buy into something because the market's just gone crazy. So just kind of sit tight. Again, Robert Kiyosaki, a huge mentor of mine. He's changed my life more than once, but I like following him because he's direct. He's very straightforward, and I like that kind of conversation. I don't like, a fluffy conversation. I just want to know the information. And he's talking about the recession's going to be in it's in 3 shots, basically 3 booms. So there's the first shot, the first boom, second boom, then third boom, and that's what's going to flatten it. So we know we hit the first boom. When's the second come out, and when does the third? Or maybe there's no third and just a second. We'll see now. I know some people are talking about government incentives. What's the government going to do? They're going to give a bailout. But how do you bail out someone's debt? I don't know. Is it lease to own? What happens? Does the government buy back your house and leases it back to own? Because this is in Europe. This is all old stuff. We had family, my mom's side of the family, in the south of Italy, literally forever they've leased to own, they've 30, 40 years leased to own a condo, right? So is that what we go to? I don't know. Does the government absolve the debt and then you lease to own it? I don't know. There's no government incentives that's going to be able to help out anybody with debt unless the rates come down to the yesterday prices, and that obviously that corrects everything. But again, we'll figure it out. We'll keep you guys posted on anything that we see that can help you make your decisions going forward. But have a great day, guys. We will talk soon. Ciao.